If you love poetry, you might want to check out the Poetry Out Loud program. It's coming up this Sunday. But before we get into our interview and I get a chance to introduce you to my guest, I just wanted to share with you one of my favorite poems. This one is a Robert Frost poem called Nothing Gold Can Stay. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold, her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down today, nothing gold can stay. My favorite poem, and that was from the movie The Outsiders. I just remember it was one of that the quote. How did I do? Daniel?
Top marks. I'd send you the Nationals right away.
Yay!
Yeah,
well, we have our friend, Daniel Kellen II with the Honolulu Theater for Youth to rate me on my reading, and he said I'm good to go to Nationals. But we actually have the opportunity to send an incredibly talented youth to Nationals. True? Right?
That is true. Yeah, the Poetry Out Loud program of the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation is an annual event, and they do two things. They provide free educational materials to schools around classic poetry, and then they have this poetry competition. And each state has its own statewide competition, and the winner of the statewide goes to the national competition.
That's exciting.
Very exciting. It's been going on for 19 years, and out of 16 of those years, Hawaii's been a part of that.
That's awesome. Now, this is poetry recitation. This is not slam poetry where the kids are making up their own stuff. We're actually pulling from the classics. True?
Exactly. There's a book that they pull the poetry from, and in the competition, it can be very stiff. They have to have at least two memorized, but if it becomes a tie, they have to go to a third one. Oh. So they have to be ready to be able to do three to kind of, show what they've got to get up into the national level.
And I love it that the preliminaries have happened already on our neighbor islands as well as Oahu.
They happen in the school setting. And then the schools choose the representative to come to the statewide. So there's 13 schools this year that are participating from all the major islands.
Love it.
Yeah, and this Sunday, the 13 students will be on the stage at Tenney Theater over at the Cathedral at St. Andrews. And each one of them will give it their good go in front of a panel of judges, and those judges will decide who's the one heading off to Washington, D.C. after that.
I'm sorry, Washington, D.C.?
Washington, D.C. is where the Nationals are held.
Awesome.
And the student, along with a chaperone, are sent off to the national competition. And if they do well in that, they get all sorts of prizes that have to do with, college money and things like that. And the school gets support as well because of having that student. Hawaii has had two that have done fairly well on a national level. One of them, Nicholas Amador, scored in the top three times nationally.
That's amazing.
So well that he's the highest financial success out of anyone nationally in the country. Yeah, because he scored 3 times.
And that's because of all that he's learned. Now, there's a lot of skills that the youth learn as they're going through this, right? Outside of memorization,
okay,
right?
Correct. It's really about them being confident in their work.
Poised.
Yeah, being poised, because they have strict rules about how much you can actually move and use your body. It's really about focused on the poetry. So it's really about interpretation, understanding, reading deeply into the work and understanding what it is that you're presenting. So it's not so much the flourishes that you do in a theatrical way, it's really about how you bring the meaning out of the poetry. And that's really why the Poetry Foundation, I think, wanted this thing to happen, to reconnect students with really quality poetry.
I love that. Daniel, please tell us again one more time, this Sunday happening at?
This Sunday, February 25th, 1 p.m. at Tenney Theater at the Cathedral at St. Andrews. Open, free, anybody can come and see it. No reservations required. Just step in the door, sit back, and really enjoy the scintillating poetic recitation of the high school students.
I love that. This is Daniel Kellen II right here with our Gang Poetry Magazine as well as Poetry Foundation right here in Hawaii. Right. Mahalo, brother. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Now let's head on over to Danielle Tucker.